I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, I got it right tonight.
Okay, welcome everyone. Because some people here have, I don't know if they've ever been here before, but we have two exits. One you came up in and one right behind you. There's a door behind you that goes down to the street. God forbid that we should need it. So what I would like to do is begin the June meeting by looking at the May minutes. Did everybody on the board receive and review the May 1st minutes?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments?
Beautifully done.
Yes.
Yes, thank
really,
you.
Really excellent.
Reflect-
You made that one change, Molly. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a second meeting that we had a special meeting on Thursday, May 25th, 2023, and we have minutes from that meeting. Did everybody receive them and review them?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments?
Again, very beautifully done.
Yes.
It was
Very well.
an emotional meeting, and Molly represented what happened very well.
I would like to mention that I originally said something about the ambulance time. It was 14 minutes, and actually it was corrected by Ray Zemansky, my deputy supervisor, and it's in the minutes that I said that it was 19 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so normally we have public comment at the end of the meeting. But since the Yankees are playing, and I know some of you might want to watch the Yankee game, we've made a decision that we'll put comments up front. And if anybody's going to comment, they need to come up here by that cabinet. Before the comments, I would like to make, for some people who are new to this town or don't understand what we've done. 20 years ago, we were under an ambulance contract with New Rochelle. No one on the board at that time, I was not on the board, Gray was. No one on the board felt that was an adequate contract with New Rochelle. We were always in the tail end. As a result, they did a study and we brought in the paramedic car that never leaves Pelham. And that paramedic car started 20 years ago and up to the beginning of COVID worked extremely, extremely well. When COVID happened, there was a lack of people. People were leaving the industry. People were not, the staffing shortages and everything else happened. As a matter of fact, there's a letter from February 7, 2022, discussing all the shortages that were going on with the EMT, not only in Westchester, in New York State, in the country.
The world.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know about the world, but I know about and as a result, some of the service that we were receiving, and everybody in Westchester went down. So it went down so far that actually about 6 months ago, Westchester County hired 4 ambulances just in Westchester, and they're paying for them and they're manning them. And those are available to everybody in Westchester. They've come to our town 3 or 4 times already.
AMR.
AMR. I actually asked the county if they would store one of the ambulances here in town, and they said they couldn't do that. Okay. So as a result of all this going on, the board has made a decision 6 months ago to put out an RFP, which is a request for proposals. And we had 5, agency picked them up, only 2 responded with the quote. And we are currently dealing with Eastchester Volunteer Association, and we're in the middle of negotiations, so we can't talk too much about what's going on there because we're in the middle of it. That's what we had, and that's what we're doing. Does anybody else on the board have a comment?
I do.
Go ahead, Kara.
When we got the paramedic in the fly car, there was also a contract with Empress
For a backup ambulance.
for a backup
Thank you.
ambulance.
Thank you.
And that seems to be the crux of the
Correct.
issue.
The fly car's time has not declined.
That's
It's
correct.
virtually the same. And now the backup ambulance, which is the transport from Pelham to a nearby hospital, that's where the time,
For everyone in Westchester.
right. So the time to receive that service and the time to transport actually to the hospital is going up.
And busier cities drain more of the resources than our small little community. That makes sense, like Mount Vernon, Yonkers, New Rochelle. Mount Vernon got a grant to get 4 ambulances for Mount Vernon solely. They have no infrastructure set up yet to even manage them, so they're just sitting there. But taking them out of the mutual aid system could ease some of the burden for Pelham also. But we have made the decision that we have to make a change, and it's just what type of change we do now in the interim, and what type of change do we do when budget time comes around.
Maura?
No, I agree with what Ray said. I think we've all been working on this for some time, especially Ray and Dan, and I think it's important. It's an important issue, and we need to solve it.
Kristen?
No, just, we're trying to be creative. I mean, all of us are sort of getting on the phone or, just sending notes to each other. We're working with the village of Pelham especially, and trying to sort of get some good different ideas, like thinking outside of the box, talking to community members. So, but we are actively working hard on it.
Thank
Right.
you.
And we want to thank the Pelham Fire Department for all their input and service, and also the Village of Pelham.
Well, and we also have to thank Ray Florida and
Yes.
Gene Iannuzzi, who are
Thank you.
specialists who are working with us on that.
Thank
That
you.
being said, remember, you will be on TV. Which my wife says to me all the time, how come you said that? How come you do this? How come you do that? So I forget sometime I'm on TV. So who would like to make a comment? Please identify your name and over there, and your address, please.
Yep, Katie Keenan, 225 Elderwood Avenue. So, hello, my name is Katie Keenan.
Excuse me, hold on one
Yes.
second. She'll come to you after, Steve.
Keenan?
Good, you,
Yep,
Yeah.
So I moved back to Pelham about 2 years ago with my husband. and
you have to
two
move up,
children.
sorry. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
Here?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's-
perfect. And I actually had the privilege of growing up here, so I know many people in this room. And I'm here tonight to express my deep concern about the state of our emergency medical services. I, like many others, was not aware of the full extent of the issue with our ambulance until I read the recent reporting in the Pelham Examiner. I'd like to thank the Pelham Examiner for shedding light on this important issue and express my deepest sympathy to the family that lost their father and husband. It's an unimaginable tragedy. We can't put a price on preserving the lives of the people that we love or protecting our families. In our current situation, where we can't rely on a timely, consistent response from an ambulance, is not acceptable. In a medical emergency, every second counts, and while we may have excellent EMTs in the fly car, there's only so much they can do without getting a patient to the hospital. So we need to exhaust every option to improve the situation now. And to that end, I make 2 requests of the board. First, commit to fixing this ambulance situation. And I heard that you said that you are, but would just like to ask you commit to it again, as this is a life or death concern, and that we're evaluating all possible options to get the best service possible, period. And the second is to provide more transparency around our EMS response times. So this would include a breakdown of response by unit, fly car, as well as ambulance, and consistent statistics so that we can track response rates over time. This transparency is important not just for our community, but also for creating accountability with providers. And while I make these asks to the board, I know from many conversations over the past week, there are a lot of concerned members of our community who want to help, myself included. What can we do to work in collaboration with the board to help improve this situation? I ask the board keep the public apprised on this important matter and commit to timelines and actions, or to action these concerns. We need to rally together to fix this issue for the health and safety of our community. Thank you.
And we agree with you 100%. And I will just add that there are paramedics in the fly car, not EMTs.
Right. That's
It's
a
a
higher
higher level
level.
of training. they can intubate, start IVs, okay? Every month we report the statistics. Every
At
month
this meeting.
at this
And-
meeting.
And I read the minutes, but in the minutes, it's a different statistic each month. So one month, it said 60% of the fly cars came in 15 minutes. But then the next month, it said the average response time is something else. So going through the minutes, I didn't see the
Okay.
consistent
Okay,
nature.
that's
Oh,
fair,
And it was
yeah.
just on the fly
That's a good
car,
point.
not the hand.
No, it's both are reported. If it wasn't clear, then we'll make it clear. Both are
Yeah.
reported each month at every meeting.
Right, so they're not in the minutes.
Yeah, we gotta just make sure that the minutes accurately.
No, I think they are, it's just not clearly defined.
Okay.
I do report on the response of under 5 minutes for the, is usually 50% or more for the fly car. Where the issue is the backup ambulance. That ranges between 9 and 11 minutes most months, but a lot of factors go into that number.
So
We
if I
will,
could make one more
we will,
request.
we will
Yes.
look at
Yeah,
getting that.
we'll make it clearer.
Yeah,
We'll make it very clear.
Thank
And it
you.
would also be great to have not just the average, but the percentile, so 50th percentile and 90th percentile, because averages can be skewed by a fast response time. So if you report 50%, then that would mean 50% of all calls were answered within this time. 90% would be 90% of calls were answered within this time.
Right, that's done with the fly car, not with the backup ambulance.
Okay, so my
That-
request would be for both.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will, that's part of the negotiations with anybody we work with, that the statistics have to be a lot clearer and more defined, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would like to get on camera next? Come on, someone talk.
I will just say that the town did send an update on sort of giving a little bit of background and where we were a couple of months ago. It's on our website, it's on the Facebook page, so we have been trying to get community input on it, so this is
We really
working.
want community input.
We do, that's why we sent that notice out, and so thank you very much for coming.
Also, sorry, Dan.
And if anybody wants to give community input, but they don't want to do it in public here, send us emails.
Email us.
Please, because, yes,
Can you tell us a little bit about that input that you've received? Like, when did you begin asking for input, and what have some of the?
Well, we started a committee right after that.
excuse me, hold
Oh,
on one
sorry.
second. Gene, did you want to answer that?
Sure.
Gene Iannuzzi is the person, you explain who you are, and he's working with us.
My name is Gene Iannuzzi. I live across the street. This is my 48th year being involved with emergency medical services. I am a paramedic, I am a registered nurse, I've been an emergency department nurse, a trauma nurse, and for the last 6 years before I semi-retired, I was the paramedic program director at Borough of Manhattan Community College in their education program. Excuse me, my voice is cracking because I have a tremor. Last year, through some of my contacts with the fire department here, I started to raise questions about the ambulance response because, I could see the fly car, fire department, police department, and it's like, where's the bus? That's what we call it, a bus. I brought some of those concerns to some of the people I know in the fire department. They were involved with the town already. They invited me to come to a meeting, and we started talking about these very things that now have become really public issues. So the one thing I want to make clear is that although I have all that background, I don't work for any of the agencies that are involved in this. I get no benefit out of this. The only benefit I have is that, God forbid I call 911, I'd like to get what I provided all my life. At some point during this whole discussion, and I have to say that the folks in the town have been extremely receptive to those concerns. And just to put something in perspective, I've dealt with government throughout Westchester County. I'm a member of the Westchester Regional EMS Council, which again, I don't speak for them, I'm speaking against myself, okay? It's not their opinions or anything. Many town, village, city governments really don't have a grasp of what goes on in the MS. The town board has been extremely receptive to what we talked about. Other people in town, Mark Cardwell, you all know, he's written letters there. Ray Florida, who's sitting next to me, a former colleague of mine. Ray used to be the executive director of Rockland Paramedic Service. He's an operations guy. I'm more of a policy guy. We've been trying to work behind the scenes with the town to advance this thing. And it was the cooperative effort of the town, some of the folks in the village. You know, we had some input into it to draft this RFP. We laid out, and what I think I tried to do, but certainly I tried to lay out that there's many ways to solve this problem. It's not up to me to decide which ones you want to choose, but we looked at contracting, changing the contract, we looked at putting out the RFP, we looked at, you know, volunteer services, all of those kinds of things. Each of them has pluses and minuses. The one thing that I can say is this: there are some that can be implemented rather quickly. There are others that if you start from scratch today, we're looking at 2 years down the road before you'll be able to turn a wheel, okay? So I understand, and Ray and I can tell you from the things that we've been involved in, it's unfortunately when there's a high-profile incident that, like had in the town here, that there seems to be a lot of focus on this. And the one thing I'd like to say is that there are people within the town who are EMS people through and through that have been working on this diligently for a while. And I'm not saying this because I want anything active. I'm retired. I want to go back to being retired. I don't want to be a chief. I don't want to be on a committee. This is just something that needs to be done. And we can do this. I responded to one of those comments in the Examiner, and one of the things that I said is that this is a time for everybody in the town to get behind this proposal, to get this done. No more of Pelham Manor versus Pelham versus the town versus Democrats versus Republicans, where I got this idea, you got that idea. This is a time that everybody wants the same thing, and we have a solution. And all that's necessary for that solution to happen is for the will of the community to support it. The amount of money that it would take to do this is a fraction of what we spend on the schools and on other things, which is not to say those things are not necessary. They are. But we are the only town in Westchester that doesn't have a dedicated ambulance. And let me also clarify some reason why. Yes, we have a contract with Empress, okay? Empress uses a system called System Status Management, where unless they're contracted to it, they don't station an ambulance in a particular place, in a particular town. It's not their asset. They will have that ambulance respond to any call, either 911, private, whatever, on an accidentable basis. So whenever we get an Empress ambulance, and many times you get an Empress ambulance, it's not a problem. I'm not trying to knock Empress or anybody else. It's the system that's a problem, because if we don't own the asset, then we don't have to control over where that asset goes. The city of New Rochelle also contracts Empress, but those 3 ambulances that are in New Rochelle, they carry New Rochelle identifiers. They are New Rochelle's asset.
That answers that.
That's what we need here. You see the ambulance, the fly car goes by, it says 38 Medic 1 inside. We need something that says 38 Alpha 1, which is a paramedic ambulance too. And we need both of those things so that even when the ambulance goes on a transport, the flight car is still in town. And there are other things within the system that we're trying to work on with the first response system. Up here, Pelham Fire Department is all trained as EMTs. They're a New York State certified basic life support first response service. Pelham Manor has a bit of a different system that we've had some conversations with them. Ray and I are willing to talk to anybody that wants to listen to get these things in place. So I just want to say, as a fellow citizen, don't think that there aren't people in this town who haven't been very concerned about this stuff before these incidents happen. And we will continue to be until we see it done. And then I'll go fade off at the background. You guys can do whatever the heck you want.
Thank you,
But I
Gene.
just want to clarify those things because I read a lot of the things on the social media stuff, and I really don't like going on social media,
Yeah.
but it has to be factual, okay? It can't be emotional, and we're all emotional now, and we should be. But the way to solve this is dispassionately with facts. So, sorry for the speech.
Thank you, Gene.
but-
No, that was
Let me ask you a
Thank
question.
you.
Did you get your question
Thank you
answered?
very much.
Yes, thank you.
welcome.
Right, I was gonna clarify that. Committee.
It's not just me.
That needs to be.
These gentlemen here also.
I guess my,
Could you get up and say your
Yeah.
name and your,
Yeah.
please?
I'm kind of speaking on the fly here, so I'm Bryce, I live at 255 Elmerwood Avenue. I guess my follow-up question would be, in addition to thank you, is, and forgive me for my ignorance, but has there been a forum in which all of these options that you guys have developed from East Implement now to kind of blue sky situation, has that been posted anywhere? Is there a forum? Is there
We've had meetings. If it's an official meeting and there's more than 2 of us at a meeting, that has to be posted, that has to be filmed.
Okay.
And anytime that happens, we are all aware that we have to do that. Right now, the board has given Ray and myself the authority to deal with these issues and these people that want to do something with this. Did we have a public meeting when we got the RFP responses? Yes, we did, and it was filmed. Again, we only had 2 people respond to the,
Very disappointing. Out of all the companies in this county and other counties, 2 people responded.
so if you look on our website, you'll see that we had a meeting when we opened up those proposals and talked about them in public. So yes, there are, when we have a public meeting, not only is it filmed, but it's also open to the public, and it's posted.
So, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Are you asking
The answer
about the
is, so-
specifics of what the
Yes,
solution would be?
Have you come up with specifics?
We're in the middle of negotiations on that, and that can't be discussed.
Okay. All right, well then I guess what would be I'm sorry if I'm kind of jumping the gun here,
You're
but
doing great.
what would be the next steps in terms of discussing the immediate solution that you were discussing, Ray? And then the ultimate goal that we're trying to look here for having a dedicated ambulance for Pelham, town of Pelham.
And that would have to be in the budget process as well,
Yes, that have to be.
which will be held in October,
October.
November.
What would we
And-
be doing between now and then?
That was what I was trying to say at our special meeting. We kind of have 2 paths, okay? One is we need an interim solution right now, because we have to make a change. We can't change our budget in the middle of the year.
Okay.
We don't have the reserves for what it would cost right now to take action to get the ambulance. We don't have enough reserve money to put towards that. So we have to wait for the budgetary process to do that. In the negotiations we're having, would be the total cost.
Yes.
So what we're trying to do now is kind of a hybrid type of agreement to keep, I can't, it's hard to give you specifics because we're in negotiations, so maybe the ambulance wouldn't be here, but it would be closer. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be a faster response. Maybe other people would man our fly car rather than Empress. It would be a hybrid solution until the budgetary process occurred.
That's about all we can say on that one.
I'm not
I
trying
don't know
to,
how I feel about that. I mean, I think.
You
it's
wouldn't,
fact, and I understand.
you wouldn't
That's
want to
fair.
put negotiations out in the public when you're still negotiating. That's
I
not,
understand, I used
but-
to run RFPs for a living, I understand.
They're trying to come up with creative solutions. We don't have money, but there's other ways we can sort of negotiate and get some kind of benefit and.
There is
and
money
then-
dedicated to the staffing of the fly car for this year. So if we're not gonna do it the way we're doing it, we take that money in the hybrid solution and apply it to that. So that's what we're waiting for a response to come back to us.
Okay, and then, I guess in this meeting, you'll give us the time frame by when you expect to get that back?
Yes, I made a phone call today to say like, where is it?
Yeah.
So, you
And
know,
so then that would be then made public to us. Do we have a roadmap for that? Of when that information about
Timeframe.
hybrid
it'll be talked about at the meeting.
Sorry, one more time.
It'll be at the meeting,
At this meeting.
next meeting, hopefully we'll be talking about, exactly about the timeframe.
Sorry, I'm sorry, when is the next meeting?
July 10th, I think, right?
And
yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
until then, we still don't have an immediate
There's
solution.
no way to have an
There's no
immediate,
immediate
there's no way
solution
to do
available.
that, right? I would welcome creative ideas on how to do that without the expenditures that it would cost to put an ambulance here.
I mean, we are also meeting with Mount Vernon, to discuss things with Mount Vernon, so it's not like we're not doing anything, but there is
I
no,
don't think you guys are not doing it, not doing
Right.
anything. I get that.
I would love to have an answer for you right now to say, this is the path we're taking, this is when it's gonna happen, this is when it's gonna be implemented. Let me tell you, I lose sleep at night, and I mean it. You can ask the board, I tell them every day, because I want a solution right now too. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that quickly.
So we're getting an update in July.
Hope,
We
Or
can give it, if
we
we have
can,
it.
if we have another if we make a decision in between the meeting, we can figure out a way to get that information
Yeah, we
out to
do our-
everybody.
Kristen.
Yes, does a monthly
Councilwoman
report.
Kristen does a monthly report and puts out things that we're doing. She could immediately, if we get something
Do a
done.
press
she would
release, like a
put-
press
And it
release.
goes on our Facebook page and it goes on our website.
So everybody, I encourage you, go on our web page and you can get alerts. And once that's posted, you'll get an email and or text message. And so we'll do that over the next couple weeks.
Couple of ideas that have been floated by us as I just want to bring up the volunteer ambulance corps idea, which is a wonderful, wonderful idea. That's at least 2 years to get up and running. In our negotiations, that's part of our negotiations with the company. How does their already established volunteer corps help Pelham to initiate more volunteers and get more volunteers, and they run it without us reestablishing an organizational chart to do it. So that's part of our negotiation. We would love Pelham residents to be volunteers.
Right.
Yes.
Can I just add a point that's relevant? There are many, many volunteer, no, excuse me, sorry.
It's okay.
There are many, many volunteer ambulances in Westchester County. The name volunteer ambulance is somewhat of a misnomer.
Mm-hmm.
Virtually all of them, I can't say every single one, but a good number of them are supplementing their staff with paid personnel. There are 3 quote-unquote volunteer services that also run advanced life support, paramedics, Ossining, Scarsdale, and Eastchester. Paramedics don't work for free. Okay? So the notion, I used to be the captain of a volunteer ambulance a very, very long time ago, when I had hair and it was black. Okay?
Well, my hair was dark
It
yesterday,
was in the
so.
city of Yonkers, okay? You can imagine, city of Yonkers used to have a volunteer ambulance, and we ran 5,000 calls a year back in the 70s, okay? It's no easy feat. So even if you bring in a quote-unquote volunteer service, the paramedics are all gonna be paid, and probably some of the EMTs also, because in this day and age, staffing an emergency service vehicle 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, is a big problem. And this is a problem all over the county. Ray could tell you the same thing that went on in Rockland, right? Volunteerism, it's not gone, people are still doing it, but it's down. And the requirements to be a volunteer as an EMT are going up. So understand that when you say volunteer ambulance, you're also talking about paid personnel, and you're probably talking about people who have to do billing, people who have to do management, all of these other things. It's not free. That's the unfortunate misnomer that people have, is that, oh, volunteer ambulance costs nothing. No, it's a significant amount of expenditure also, okay? So, again, I just want to, put some facts out there, so when people are making decisions about what they want to support, which way they want to go, that you're getting the objective facts. If anybody wants to know where I get these facts from, I'm happy to share them. I did on one post that I made with something. I'm not saying these things because it's my opinion. I wouldn't, nobody's asked me for my opinion, okay? I'm trying to just put out facts about EMS so that people can understand what's necessary to run this, okay? It's not an easy feat, okay?
And just to add to what you were saying, Gene, Larchmont has 80 volunteers, roughly. All of them have to be outfitted. And all their certifications have to be kept up. So those are all expenses as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious, a town, you especially.
Excuse me, if you'd like to get up and talk, and
Oh, I don't
Please,
wanna
no, go ahead, please.
I was just gonna
I
ask,
yak too much.
your name
Louis Bastone,
and what,
700 Wolf's Lane.
okay,
So,
can you, I'm sorry, the camera.
oh,
Yeah.
You're on TV.
so I'm getting into this a little late. I wasn't aware of the meetings. I didn't realize that we didn't have our own ambulance. And did I understand you correctly that we're the only town in Westchester that doesn't have its own ambulance?
That's correct, that's correct.
But there's other towns in Westchester and villages that don't have a fly car.
Right.
Right.
So some people have decided to go by ambulance, some people decided to go by paramedic car.
Right.
We, 20 years ago, decided paramedic car, and as I said at the beginning, that worked very, very well up until COVID.
Yeah. So on a positive, I had a couple of very good experiences. Unfortunately, having to call 911, was allergic to peanuts, and we had to put an EpiPen, and it worked, the system worked beautifully.
Right.
Police showed up, fly car showed up, ambulance showed up. I had a very traumatic experience I don't want to get into. It's hard to sort of relive it, but the short version is that my son suffered compartment syndrome. So you know what that is.
I do.
And it's all about timing. Otherwise his leg was going to be amputated. And 2 police officers showed up, no fly car and no ambulance.
Are you in the manor or in the village of
Yes.
Pelham?
Manor.
2 Manor police officers showed, no fly car. It was December 9th, this past December 9th, at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I knew what I was dealing with. I knew that the timeline was urgent, beyond, and I explained it to the officer. He listened to me, he was incredible. And ultimately
Oh,
saved
I know about this, your son's a hockey player.
Yeah,
That, I know about that. Right.
incredible, and he got me there. So, the fact that we're learning that we didn't have an ambulance of our own is incredible.
Well, it's incredible that the fly car didn't show up.
Yeah, I didn't-
And I never
Well,
heard
that's
that.
why, my next point is what you said.
Yeah.
The system is not working properly, because even if you have your own ambulance and you have your own fly car, there still has to be a system, and then the system's gonna get tested when you have 2 or more.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
that
no
may
purpose.
have been what had happened that night, I don't know.
And that's
but it
why
was-
we put a mutual aid in the county.
Yeah,
Right,
mutual
so there
aid.
has to be a backup to the backup.
There is.
because-
There is. It's similar to what, for example, if Pelham Fire Department, okay, we had that fire at 17 Fifth Avenue.
Right.
Pelham Fire Department is 2 units, okay? It goes to multiple alarms. We have fire departments from around the region that respond to that. We're not a big place. We're never going to have 2 or 3 vehicles. But
Right.
yeah, there's going to be times when those vehicles are doing 2 calls. Our call volume is going up.
But we're in a.
I understand I understand the police took your son, right?
No, they couldn't take him. They helped me put him in the car,
Right.
And you
he
took
got me
him
there.
yourself?
Sorry?
Like they escorted you?
You couldn't even get on the hutch. It was 3 o'clock on a Friday.
Yeah.
Trying to get on the hutch.
I
Nightmare circumstances.
Right.
Like,
I was
all
not
around.
aware that the flight car did not show up, and
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
gonna find out
We'll
what the hell
find out
happened.
why.
They were, I assume they were at another call. I mean, it's.
Yeah, but there's
it's
still a
quite possible.
backup.
There still has to be a backup.
Yeah.
We're in,
Yeah.
you know, such a dense area with other towns around us.
So I know
we
where the
have-
flight car was. The flight car was down at the shopping center because they had a,
The lady drove in the water.
Oh, that,
No.
no.
That water was-
That was 2 years ago. No, they
Yeah.
were down because a woman had a stroke down there.
Oh,
But
So
why you didn't get
Right.
a backup, I don't understand, and I'll find out
Yeah.
about that.
We need to find
But-
that out.
My point or my question is that we're surrounded by towns and people and resources, that there's not a system that's working properly, because that shouldn't have happened. And I'm not the only one, so there's obviously other issues that have recently occurred and whatever. But we also have 2 fire departments, 2 police departments, and earlier you said that a lot of these individuals are trained as EMS. I don't know.
Just Pelham.
just Pelham,
The village of Pelham.
just the village of Pelham
The village of Pelham.
has trained
EMTs.
EMTs in the fire department, they're first responders.
Okay.
On duty.
On duty 24/7. They're all EMTs.
They respond with the police.
And the fly car.
And the manor does not.
No.
We're working on it.
I mean, it's one town, it's 2 villages, I mean, that's
But we
crazy.
can't control the manners, we don't control their
There were
decisions.
negotiations going on that.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem acceptable, I mean, I.
Shouldn't be.
That's a little crazy, even, I'm sorry, even.
I know,
your
but I can't-
response-
We
can't
didn't go to
speak for
that
them.
meeting too.
Even your response, I mean, that's a little.
But I can't control what the village of Pelham Manor does.
I'm sorry?
It's not, we're saying that we
Yeah,
can't.
I'm sorry, I'm
No,
making
it's
you for a
okay.
lot
No,
of
we
this, but I just
understand.
haven't been
No,
Yeah.
we,
exposed
not
to
everybody,
it, but
right, no, if you
I
don't.
just, it just, like logically, you just look
Yes.
at it, you're like, you know, I'm a mile down the road, I mean,
course.
or let somebody die or lose their leg because
And-
I'm not in Pelham, I'm in
My-
Pelham Manor, or vice versa. Is that
that's
what you're
exactly
saying?
the case.
And you know,
And
That's no offense.
one of the reasons is that because you have 2 incorporated villages, and the fire departments and the police departments are separate agencies, okay? And I'm not saying this to cast aspersions on them, let me make it very, very clear. This is just a fact. Pelham Fire, Village of Pelham Fire, incorporated EMS into their mission quite some time ago. And they, like I said, every member is an EMT.
Right.
For whatever reasons that I'm certainly not privy to, I live in a manor. Pelham Manor Fire, Pelham Manor Police have not chosen to go that route. Now, that doesn't mean they don't respond and they don't have some capability. They're trained in CPR, they have automated defibrillators, but they are not.
They have certifications, but
They're
not
not
EMT
a
certifications.
certified basic life support first response agency, okay? They would have to become one. And that's entirely something that has to go through the village government. And I'm not pointing a finger at the village, this is what any municipality in Westchester would have to do,
Right,
okay?
right. So, I think I started off by, I was about to ask, how many ambulances does a town like Larchmont have? Who has their own? Just,
I don't know.
I
Do you
don't
know?
know.
I don't have an
I don't
answer.
know
I
those
can get an
numbers,
answer for that.
But You know, they also have the town of Mamaroneck and then
Right.
the village of Mamaroneck and the village of
Yeah, they have different
Larchmont. So
municipalities within like us,
they
right.
all have at least one.
Right. But
And,
my point is, I'm sure there's a system, because
Yes.
if there's 2 calls and you've got one bus, as you called it, what do? So we would still have to have a plan or a system.
right.
The fact that we don't have our own at this point, I'm surprised there's just not a better system that's working without cracks.
I happen to agree with you, and that happens to be, I'm still in shock that there was no ambulance sent to your place. But that's why we're having this RFP. That's why we're going through this. It wasn't because of your situation, but we did hear about it. It's not working.
Right.
And we hope your son is doing well.
It's a miracle. Yep, it's beyond. But I gotta tell you, that probably 20 minutes that the officer saved me was a big difference maker.
Every minute counts.
Dr. Long, right? Of course. Yeah.
20 minutes is a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll go. Hey, Ramsey and Glory, 619 Esplanade. It's hard to follow someone like Gene, but I did coordinate combat logistics for a hospital in the Gulf War, and we always knew that it was layers of capabilities that gave you the most protection. And so as you think about the RFP and as you go through the negotiations, how do you think about the village's responsibilities or not, and how that affects how much money you think you'll need, not so much for the interim. I understand the interim is whatever you can do. And by the way, I really respect all the effort you're putting in this. Do you have a sense of what that budget is on a go-forward, understanding that there's a little bit of uncertainty about what the villages will do?
We publicly have said that it would probably increase our budget by about $1.7 million, which our budget is only $4.3 million. So that's a big jump. Now, we've said it publicly and we've said it in the minutes. We did a down and dirty calculation, and if you have $1 million house, you're paying the town $410 in town tax. In town tax. If we,
Annual.
excuse me?
Annually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I never heard it talk monthly. But anyway, annually, that would go up to about 730.
Okay.
That if you're on a typical $1 million house. To make up for that $1.7 million that we would need to do an ambulance and a fly car.
And so just understanding the process here, you go through, you figure out what the interim is, whatever it is. You figure out what the budget is, and then in October, November, that becomes part of the budget. This group approves that budget.
Correct.
And
It
then
then goes to
the public.
in the
December.
right?
No,
Just budget.
just
It's
budget.
Gets
Budget for
posted,
approval.
and then we have a budget meeting that the residents can come to and say,
Yeah, your
what is
nay or.
this, what is
right,
that?
right.
Yeah.
So, and that's normally held mid-December, December 18th, I believe.
And those-
But that's all published.
Sorry, those contracts are annual, 2-year, how does that,
Right now,
yeah,
we have a 2-year contract with Empress with a 60-day cancellation.
Cancellation.
okay, a one-way cancellation where we can cancel? Do they have a right to cancel?
I don't think so.
It's not in the contract. We asked for it because we knew what we were doing here.
Yep.
So we had to sign the contract January 1st. So they wanted a particular increase, and we negotiated and said, we can do this if you do that. And that's how we got the 60-day out.
Okay. And what, so I understand the Village of Pelham has invested in EMS, all the fire, none of the fire of Pelham Manor have done that. There was a contract negotiation. What can we do to support, other than go pound the table at the village meeting, which I've done enough of over the last few years?
What I said before, I encourage everyone to email us your thoughts, your ideas, and I think that's what you should be doing, what you should be doing to the board members of the village, is emailing and and talking to them about it.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, Ashley Mills, I live at 215 Loring. This isn't, I wasn't prepared to say anything, I was really just here in support. You should just know that there are a lot of moms in Pelham on many a WhatsApp group talking about this issue, are very concerned about this issue. If the difference is $300 on $1 million house, this sounds silly. Like, this is something that.
Well, it's not silly.
No, I mean, we're talking about, potentially losing a child, we're talking about a family losing their father, and the amount that it's gonna cost is $300 on $1 million house, like, we pay so much in tax, like, this,
Yeah.
$300 is not a material amount of money, and like, as a mother of 3 young boys, and I have my elderly father who lives with me, who helps take care of my kids, and he has cancer, and he's a cancer survivor, like, it boggles my mind that we could live in this vibrant, amazing, wonderful community with the best schools and all the things that we have, that we all know about, and that we don't have this dedicated resource, and if that's the delta, like, I would, in terms of like, what can we do to help you? We've got a lot of people who feel
That's it.
very passionately
That's
about this, so.
Please send us all those comments.
But,
how-
and get the word out.
How do we
Yes.
do that?
To your
What is the
community members.
appropriate- What is the appropriate way?
Email all of us.
Tell them to read, tell them to watch this meeting.
No, but they're
Yeah.
watching it and they're angry and they
Yeah.
all wanted to be here in support, but for various childcare reasons they couldn't be.
Yes, let us know. Email us, contact us.
Okay, is that enough?
Can I
Yes,
jump in
please.
here? I'm gonna tag out.
Yes, go.
I guess there's a sense of urgency here. And I am shocked that the solution is going to be in December. It's 6 months from now. So what I think we need is communication, a plan on that communication, and we wanna see some urgency. And I think we'd like to see the accountability on this board to, I don't know if it works if you guys like cooperate with the manor on behalf of the village or get the whole band together, but, this is urgent. This is urgent. Yes. And we want to see that urgency and we don't wanna know, like, what I'm hearing is, we have some ideas, we can't talk about it, and let you know when we hear back, and that's frankly.
Yeah, I just
I
want to say,
want more.
I'm Tom Kleinberger, town attorney. One thing you have to understand is, and seeing as you have a lot of experience with RFPs, I imagine that you do, as a governmental agency, when we are in contract negotiations on the specifics of a contract, we will not discuss those specifics in a public forum.
Okay.
Can't do it.
So how will the community then feel comfortable that this board, we know you hear us, but when will we get next steps?
I think we said that to you before.
Yeah, soon, next.
As much pressure as we can put on the people we're negotiating with to come back with a solution. That's why I said it was two-pronged. October, we don't have the money to do it now. If the villages want to kick in, go to your village meetings and tell them, kick in $500,000 each, and we'll do the other 500,000.
The reason why, when the supervisor said the town tax rate, the reason why I said annually is because it is so low, I didn't want anyone to think it was quarterly or otherwise. So that's why I clarified, because you're right, it is a low, we feel like we are, we do a lot with very little, but we need to do more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So can I just ask 2 more questions?
Sure.
Okay, so is there any opportunity to do an out-of-cycle budget with approval?
We can't do it.
Not by New
Not
York,
allowed by law.
New York State.
In
We
New York
actually,
State.
Kate, we actually went up to the government to discuss this. And I went to Westchester County, as I said, to see if we can get one of their ambulances. We did have a representative of one of the senators who claimed they were going to get us the money for short term. We haven't heard anything from that particular person since then. But even if we were to do that, we'd have to purchase an ambulance if we were to do it ourselves. Where if we worked with an organization that's currently, they have those ambulances and so on and so forth.
So, let's say we have a big group of organized people, and you all wanna hear from them individually. If we all petition our respective villages for interim funds, does that make a difference?
I don't know. How,
Okay.
it would, we'd have to have
I think-
intermunicipal agreements, I don't know.
Permitted for them
Should we
to
all register
lend
Congress
money.
people? I mean, like, I think we have a lot of
What they need.
Yeah,
pretty
so
active
I-
people
yeah.
that can help,
I-
so.
I've reached out to Congressman Bowman's office. He's the one that got Mount Vernon the 4 new ambulances under the American Recovery Act. And those, unfortunately, those ambulances are not staffed right now. So we've been in talks with them to have a meeting about a potential opportunity there. It's just not as easy because they're not staffed currently right now. They're parked, right? And as the supervisor has mentioned, and I've also reached out to County Executive Vladimir to say, hey, could you help us out here in the short term? We have there's, in addition to the 4 ambulances that Westchester County has put into service, there are these other 4 ambulances that are currently not in service, and they're right next door. And so, again, we're ongoing with what we might be able to do there. And then there is, as Deputy Supervisor Szymanski mentioned, the group that is coming together to look and see how can we have our own ambulance, form our own volunteer corps. And again, that is, as Jean mentioned, it's a long process. It's not like we're gonna start up a 501c3 ambulance corps, get donations, and it's up and running at the end of the year. It's just a long process. But again, something that we're definitely interested in identifying, because I think towns of our size have solved this issue that way.
Okay, so we as concerned citizens can start some emails and that. And then around the budget, so I know in the Pelham Examiner article, it mentioned that there was not an appetite for a budget increase, that the board felt that was not.
I never said
Maybe
that.
it was a misquote, but that was the impression.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a misquote.
So,
Yeah.
so the whole town votes on the budget or just this board?
This board
Well-
votes on the town budget.
The board votes, but then it goes out to the residents, gets posted. The initial one gets posted at the end of October.
Okay, so there's a tentative budget at the end of October. The preliminary budget goes from October to December 5th, or 6th, around there, when that's the public comment for our budget.
Right.
After that, if there's no problems, they can vote that night, or it goes 2 weeks later to December 18th.
If there are comments.
About it, if there are comments or problems with the budget. So the
And this is all
time-
state directed.
The time has, for the public comment on the budget would be the beginning of December. Molly, do you have the actual date?
But it's not voted on by, it's not like the school budget. So I
Okay.
just wanna clarify, it's not
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
that the community
Input,
doesn't vote
though.
on it.
You could
We
come
as a
and-
board
We
vote
can
on it.
all come
Right.
and
Yep.
express
Yes.
our
Yep.
support.
Yes.
Yep.
And the budget.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's what you need
Yes.
from us.
Yes.
Yes.
And then when can you start spending those funds?
January
1st.
1st. So that doesn't mean we couldn't do planning.
If
we
we
knew
sign
that
a
was gonna
contract
happen.
to
Ready
be
to go.
effective January 1.
How would you guys feel about citizens fundraising?
Well, that doesn't solve the issue, because that would have to be done every single year.
What if it was just
For the interim.
I'm
For the
sorry.
interim period?
Yeah,
We have the money for the interim period. So I'm not sure, I'm not gonna talk for the board about fundraising for that. What does everybody think about it?
I think that's how other towns do it, right? So, but so what other towns do is.
They
it's
do that
like,
for the
example, I know what Mamaroneck
volunteers.
does, it's a 501c3, it's run, and then the municipality puts in.
But that's a volunteer.
That's the core.
Right, that's
No,
for the
that's the core.
volunteers.
Ambulance district.
Right, it's an ambulance, that's right, it's an
Which
ambulance
is
Right.
like a
district,
fire
and you
district.
tax
we
it.
have
Exactly.
board of governors and all sorts of things like that.
But you
Yeah.
can fundraise, like we can't, as a town, we can't fundraise, right?
Right.
Am I right? That's correct.
But we could fundraise for.
Right, so
Right,
let-
so as
could
a-
we
so some-
accept,
So somebody,
funds that
there's,
way.
there are some folks in
Never
town
heard
who
of
are
it, I
interested
don't
in
know.
this and
Is it-
starting a
Would
501c3
you-
fundraising.
Would
and
you give
research
us, a couple of days to investigate that,
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
we have to research
Okay.
what we actually
We
can.
can accept it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I've never heard that, so
Yeah.
we'll check that and we'll get back to you.
Don't you think?
Is it possible to expand an existing 501c3 and like team up with someone in the?
That's what we're trying to do, that's part of the RFP, because we don't have the infrastructure to run
man
it.
it.
We
Right.
don't
There's
to
just-
manage
There's
it.
already an existing 501c3,
Correct.
you could then donate to that.
Right.
Yes, you
You know,
could.
like the library
Yes.
already has the
Yes.
Friends of the Library, so you can donate to that, and
That
that
is
helps
an excellent
augment their
point you just
budget.
made, because if we pick that partner, that fundraising
That-
can
that's
go
what-
right
that's what I'm saying. We would
into
have a
that
separate
exist.
fund that isn't the-
Correct, that is
That's-
correct.
That's another creative way.
Oh, yes,
It's another creative way.
yes, right, excellent.
So we'll get back to you on that.
But thank you, that's a wonderful suggestion.
Thank you.
I'm a contracts lawyer and I'm trying to process all that.
Lawyer as well.
We can figure this out.
Hi.
Hi, Mike Lon, 6 Country Club Lane. So I want to actually just bring up 2 points, if you wouldn't mind reminding me of my second point. So I understand the interim is a process, but I want to advocate for when you guys decide on the final product. Currently, we have a BLS ambulance, correct?
No, we do
No.
not.
It's an ALS ambulance?
That fly,
No.
we,
It's whatever they say.
yes, whatever they
So it's
said.
frequently a BLS ambulance.
It depends on what the paramedic is saying when he calls.
Right, so the system is set up that the fly car is not supposed to leave the town.
Correct.
The fly car leaves the town all the time. I used to work at Lawrence Hospital in the emergency room. I would see the fly car all the time. And, yes, and what unfortunately, and I would look and say, well, that's not really, if there's
There's
a
no room
problem.
to put a patient in the flight car, Mike, so I don't know how.
No, I know, they would,
Oh.
they
goes
would,
in the back.
yes.
Oh.
It's an ambulance call.
And that's what happened with this gentleman the other day, right? He-
No.
No, an
the-
ambulance
went
came.
with
The paramedic
patient?
went into the ambulance.
Right, correct. So then there's no one to man the fly car.
Well,
So
It-
this is what my point is.
go ahead.
We're gonna have the fly
That's
car.
correct.
But we should have a full ALS ambulance
Correct.
as the ambulance.
Correct.
Yes.
And so there's much less reason for the fly car the paramedic in the fly car.
Correct.
To
Agreed,
go to the hospital.
agreed, 100%.
Because every time I used to see the
Right,
fly car, I
same.
would know, well, Pelham's kind of uncovered right now.
Got it. Got
So
it. But
just-
that's what we're looking to do.
Right, so
Exactly.
good. I
Thank
want
you.
to advocate for that. All right. Now, and my second point was, since there's only 2 agencies that
Responded.
put in, there's Empress and Eastchester Volunteer.
Evac.
EVAC. So I'm no longer affiliated with EVAC, but I was the medical director for many years with them. And I just want to say, they are a quality organization. I've had a lot of experience with them. The town in Eastchester is very happy with them. So I just want to, my personal opinion.
And I
is they're a
appreciate that
good-
opinion.
They are a good, solid organization.
Our meetings with them have been very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Uh,
And just point of knowledge, the police and the fire department in the village are trained by EVAC,
Yes,
okay?
Yeah.
They get all their training through EVAC already.
they have a tight relationship.
Yes.
Very
yes, they
tight
have a very tight relationship with them.
No, actually.
Oh, that's good.
So there is
Yeah,
room for
I didn't know that.
for the-
I didn't
for
know
town
that.
manager
Thank
to do
you.
it, But yes, it's,
Thank you. That's wonderful news.
so they are intimately involved already.
And they also, I can't, we're in
Yeah.
the middle of contract. I can't.
Yeah.
What I will say is that we need a voice, and a voice just can't be a contract voice. It has to be a decision-making voice. That's part of the negotiations with the partners that we would look at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand.
I appreciate your comments very much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Mike.
for coming.
Hi, I'm Maren Zielinski, 61st Street. It's tough to be up there, you're all volunteers, 65, I don't know. So thank you for the time you're putting in, and it's, you know, we're talking about life and death stuff, so I appreciate you being responsible for keeping us safe. Like many people, I was shocked to find out that we don't have a dedicated ambulance service and further really caught off guard that there was any question about whether or not we needed one, regardless of the fact that historically, I guess we haven't had one. So point number one is I just want to join the many people expressing the urgency of this to me. But the other thing that's really struck me is that what I've consistently been hearing is that an ambulance would be an add-on and it would cost extra money. And I would appreciate more of an explicit acknowledgement that it's only extra if we regard everything else we're doing as somehow mandatory. It doesn't seem like it is to me. It's awesome that we have recreational opportunities, we have the library, we do other things, but nothing requires that in a way that an ambulance would then be an extra that we decide whether or not to have. To me, the ambulance is number one. And anything else we do, we have to decide how we spend the rest of the money. And I think it would help the sense of frustration in the community if there were explicit acknowledgement that we will have to raise our taxes if we want to keep doing everything else we're currently doing, or we can keep them where we are. And just so that we all know that discussion is being had privately, that it's for you to decide on our behalf what is extra, what's worth raising taxes for.
I did, in the last two meetings, I've said that same exact quote about the $1.7 million, so I could get it out into the community. So I wanted to make sure everybody was on board with that. I explicitly did it twice.
I'm
And now
sorry,
I did
and you
it
said what about the million?
about what the cost would be and what the taxes would be.
Right, but it could be free to add an ambulance. It just means we would
Offset
trade
it.
off something else. The whole point of it would cost us another $1.7 million.
Someone made a comment that we should close the library and give that money to the ambulance.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm saying, but that conversation, how we spend the money we have and whether or not we want to increase it by any amount. Maybe we have the library open less, maybe we do less rec, we look at all our fixed expenses, just that it's all.
I hear you, I just don't think this board wants any other program to suffer because they are so successful. It wouldn't be my first choice to pull from other dedicated funds and programs. Our recreation department is wonderful for this small town that we have. I would not want to take from them. I hear what you're saying. I think we're not looking at
Right.
taking, we're looking just at adding.
Well, and
Yeah.
so that comes up as we look at the period of the next 6 months too. And the conversation we just had touched on that it might be possible to direct some fundraising to the library, which might, typically a board like this would have a supplemental appropriations provision during the year, where if things occur, if surprises occur, you are allowed, and I don't have access to your bylaws, but it would be atypical not to have a provision to reallocate funds during the course of a year.
We do.
And
Yeah,
that too, so we can, and again, I think it would be helpful.
But not $1.7 million.
But not $1.7 million.
We're prorated,
Also, we're not
prorated,
looking at-
prorated, you know,
Prorated.
but still, yeah.
So I suggest that as part of this conversation, just speaking for myself, I will find it helpful if the conversation includes the idea of this is what it would cost to add it, or we can reallocate things because it's all fungible, and it just helps telegraph to the people who are frustrated that we're looking at all solutions and that we recognize that this is as much or greater of a priority than the already funded outlays.
Yeah. Understand, we don't, our budget is not 19 million, our budget is not 91 million, our budget is 4.3 million.
Yeah.
It's lean.
And
It's lean.
it is pretty much allocated to run what we're currently running, and I don't think we're running an extravagant programs personally, and I'd like the board.
Well, some of it's by statute, we can't give
some
it
of
up.
it's by statute.
Right.
So
And
you
things
can't
like-
give the tax assessor up, you can't give the tax collector up.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so those are by statute, we can't make those changes.
Right.
We have,
Sorry, people.
and anything that the villages don't want rolls up to the town.
And things like the rec department, we charge for those things.
Yeah.
So
They're money
we're
makers.
making money too.
That's a great point.
That's, the rec department is actually in the black.
Profitable, yes.
Yeah, it's profitable.
Totally hear that. But again, kind of what I'm hearing back is there's nothing we can do, and what I'm asking.
Well, we're not
is-
saying
Moment in-
that.
just at
We're
this
not saying
moment in
that.
time.
Yeah,
You must have come in late, because we're saying we're working on it.
Yes.
We're working on a hybrid. We are working on meeting with Mount Vernon. We're working on meeting with other people, so we're doing something.
I don't think, I think that's,
No, we
with all
don't know what
respect, a
it
bit of a
is.
straw dog argument. I'm not saying you're not doing
That's what I
anything,
wanted to get.
and I don't know anyone in the community
could be
who thinks
more
that.
than what we
It's not
saw.
that you're not doing anything. What I'm specifically just asking for is a greater openness to reallocating existing funds with recognition that it's a lean budget, and even if we all decide as a group that that's not the way to go, the recognition that that is an option is, to me, helpful to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the story time families are gonna come marching in here next time.
Any other? I just want to say that I'm so delighted to see all of you come out to a meeting. Because to be frank with you, normally we have one person. And
And she works for the library.
and it's very difficult for the five of us, and I don't care if it's five different people, to know what the residents want. And the only way we know it is when you show up here. And we thank you very, very much. Yes, Ray.
2 seconds of your time. My name is Ray Floyd. I'm a village resident for 40-plus years. I've worked with numerous town boards, numerous village boards over my career in EMS. And I have to say, this board is to be commended for their tenacity with this subject, with this topic, and being realistic about it, and not willy-nilly just go ahead and do something and then have to retrace their steps. It's important that you get it right the first time. And that's what they're doing. They're cautiously, they're deliberately working toward making sure that everyone is safe. And for them, as far as I'm concerned, they should be commended.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
And you've been very, very helpful, too.
Thank you so much.
Now, you can stay here and listen to our report.
Hey, we have another comment.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Really quickly. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanna. I'm from the Office of State Senator Natalia Fernandez, the representative of this area. This is something that a few people, Councilmember Maura Curtin has brought up and other people. So I feel like if it helps for us to mediate between you guys and other towns, whether it is Mount Vernon or something, just so that you have another presence on other elected office so that they know our office is aware and our office wants to do something about this, we can be there. Whether it is a staff member is there, the senator makes a call, whatever it is, so that we can help mediate this and make this problem that is an urgency right now for the town, make it happen faster.
Thank you.
The other thing that I wanted to say too is, I know the senator is aware of this, and it is within something that is at the top of her list of capital funding priorities, and that is something that we get pretty much right now when session finishes is when we start to receive the total amounts of what we can actually allocate for capital. And an ambulance is something that is considered capital under Senate funding. So if that's something that you want to explore as well, I know Maura Curtin has also raised it as well to us. If that's something that we want to include in supplementing for the budget, obviously that takes a little bit of time. The process itself is a little bit different, but if that's something that you guys need in order for everyone to have access to this, then we can make it happen.
Councilman Curtin told the board about what you just explained, and we have that still on the agenda as well to
Perfect.
discuss.
So you let us know, we've done this before, so we would just need a letter saying specifically what the amount would be for what you guys need, and then we can move forward from that. So we're here to support as much as we can, and I know this is a huge urgency, like you were saying, compared to some other things, this is something that could save a life. So if it helps for us to also reach out, you mentioned there were 3 ambulances that weren't staffed right now, right?
There's 4 in Mount
Four of
Vernon.
them. So if it helps in you guys talking to other places, for us to be there and be like, hey, we really need this.
Yeah.
If we need to talk to the senator at the other place, we can. If we need to talk to some other elected officials, whatever it is, we can try to make it happen a little bit faster to address this. So.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
We have that on Google.
That's awesome.
Okay, who wants to listen to the library report?
We do need hosts for novel night.
Who wants to, you stay as long as you want. I'll give 5 minutes for people to take off. And thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank
I
you.
finally get to meet you.
I know. Well,
Lovely.
Here, hold on.
Here, do you want to guys pass these out?
Really?
I have a couple.
Do both the emails,
Okay.
just because the Hotmail will alert me that it's going to the other.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you so much. Thanks for all your help.
They're on your website.
Oh, all right.
Run them around. Just email.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks for
Katie.
coming.
Good to see
Thank
all
you so
of
much for
Thank you guys so much.
And that's a good idea, by the way, in the 501c, we're gonna put that on the list too.
Yeah.
Thank you. You think you lost the library again?
I know, the library's not that
I
popular.
know.
Don't worry.
And I have other people saying the library should get more funding and not this. It's very
Yes,
lean.
absolutely.
Okay,
No.
let's start with the meeting.
Augusta, you can move to the
Ed,
front.
if you wanna
row.
talk, you can talk outside. I know, but we wanna get on with the meeting. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
You must sit. Thank you. Sitting down.
What's your name? Where do you live?
He's getting nervous.
Okay.
Chester Park.
North Pelham.
Chester Park.
Around the corner from the Szymanskis.
And down the street.
Don't give her
on, or the timeline on the elevator for this building.
Oh, great.
We
were just
are
talking.
considering
Yes.
asking for that money to be reassigned, because when the police move from downstairs, we plan on putting the office that deals with the residents downstairs.
And the council is not gonna meet up here? Because, you know, it's very difficult for
Correct.
elderly people
I agree.
like me.
Yes.
to-
I agree with that.
Wait, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. We have not finished the plans for downstairs. It may be that we meet downstairs, and
Yes.
this may become a storage room.
But I hear you.
Yes, we've heard that, yes.
I agree with
They
you,
said
to be
also,
honest.
there's no sign down there which there was going, which you, as a board,
Sometimes
said you were
there
gonna
is.
put up,
Yeah.
I know.
saying,
Amen.
if you have difficulty going up the stairs,
Call
ring
this-
this bell and
Yes.
someone will come down and help you. Right now, you have to
Correct.
walk up to the assessor's office or walk up
That's
to,
not true, Ed.
what, where's the
You
sign?
go to Harry, and Harry makes the call to the office, and that was part of our ADA.
Plan.
Is there a sign down there? I met.
Right now,
Yeah, you know.
Rudy,
it
right
used to
now,
be,
there's
but
a
I
sign
agree
that
with
says
you,
go
there is no
upstairs to
sign
pay.
now.
Then we'll get a sign there,
But
right?
we will get
Yeah,
the
we will.
sign, but that is the way, just going forward, so you know, and you can pass it on to some of the other seniors. If they need assistance, they are welcome to go to Harry, and Harry will make the phone call up to the department
If there's
that
a
they need.
sign saying that,
Yes.
telling you what to do.
Yeah.
We will
Yes.
definitely
Yes,
take
let's
care
get
of
the
that.
sign.
Good point.
But just so
Yes.
you know.
I think this brings
Agree.
up a really
Right
good
now,
point, too.
there's a sign that says if you need to pay, go upstairs.
yeah.
So that's even worse. Parking tickets. It says it right in the,
I think
we
it's the
read it
moving
on the way
violation.
in.
Moving
But that's
violation.
when Harry's
Right,
not in the
moving
office.
violations
Harry's not.
upstairs.
Yeah.
So,
We do need
yeah.
something.
We'll,
Yes,
we'll,
we
we'll
will
we'll
add
get it
that. I
done
agree with you, Ed.
professionally.
None of you folks have any mobility issues.
Yeah, oh,
That's
yes,
not
we
true.
do.
I had a
Like,
broken
when you
ankle.
get to be my age.
I just had a total knee.
But it's
Well,
true.
and
Yes.
actually, the meetings were over there.
right.
Yeah.
We
Which,
have-
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. We had a woman last week that just had knee surgery, and I
Right.
really did feel terrible
Oh, my God.
that she had to come up here.
I
All right,
did too.
Ed, thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
All right, I don't think Deputy Supervisor Szymanski needs to talk about the fly car, or do you?
I feel confident that we have the information.
I
She
think
needs the stats for the month,
I
though.
need to read the
Read the
stats
stats.
for the
Okay,
month.
okay, you're right.
Okay,
Read the stats.
okay, for the month of May, there were 40 calls in the village of Pelham, 34 calls in the village of Pelham Manor, no calls on I-95, and 7 calls on the Hutchinson River Parkway, which we do have to respond to. It depends on where it is, whether Pelham responds or Pelham Manor responds. The fly car, 60% of the time, got to the call in 6 minutes and under. 50% of the time, sorry. 82% of the time, it was 7 minutes and under. The backup ambulance stat that was given to me, that is the transport ambulance, is 9 minutes and 42 seconds. That number is being explored because it may not take into consideration every level of response. So the fire chief in the village of Pelham is assisting us in verifying those statistics. That's my report.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Councilwoman McLaughlin on recreation.
So now to the fun stuff. We have clinics throughout the summer. The Recreation Department sponsors them, and the first one is football, which starts on June 13th. Day camp, Tiny Tots, and Big Tots all begin on July 5th, which is a Wednesday, I believe, this year. So that week is a shortened service week. The Recreation Department sponsored Athletes Helping Athletes on June 2nd at Glover Field. The varsity baseball team hosted a clinic for children with special needs. The Marshall Award will be given out at the October meeting of the Rec Commission.
Thank you.
Phil DeSimone has let us know that the AED devices that are to be placed at Prospect Hill, Ingalls Field, and Franklin Fields is on back order. We have received the cabinets that they will go into, and as soon as the actual equipment comes, he will install them. We were worried about vandalism, and we were worried about weather issues. The cabinets themselves are weatherproof, and once the equipment is there, the cabinet closes and it doesn't lock, but it's secure, and when somebody goes to open it, a siren alarm goes off, and 911 is notified.
Automatically notified?
Yes,
Great.
so
It's really good.
if
It's like the old fire alarms.
it is, and it's like, so if a vandal comes and opens it, the police show up.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's good.
they'll be
That used
arrested.
to be a big thing.
um,
the fire alarm
or
box.
charged or whatever. So that part is safe. The good news is during camps that are at Prospect and at the middle school, they're mostly outdoors. They and all the other schools, the rec department has access to the AEDs that are in the buildings because the school buildings are open during that time. It's only during the fall and the spring when the schools are actually closed that there's an issue.
On the weekends.
On
And
the,
at
week- on the
nights?
weekends.
And at nights,
And at
or?
night.
Most of the schools are open.
Okay.
There's a
Good to
door
know.
open if
Okay.
there's an event outside. So that is all covered. The senior citizens were very active last month. They did 51 round trips with the van, which I
nice.
think is a
Oh.
record
That
since
is-
I've
sounds
been
like a
here. So that's exciting that they're making use of that. The programs that have been running all spring will continue all summer because the senior citizens aren't on summer vacation. They're always on summer vacation. They will also do additional smaller trips from 6 to 12 people that fit in the van. And this month, they're going to have a lunch at Arthur Avenue again.
Oh,
So
that's
I
great.
don't know what restaurant they're going to, but that should be exciting. They'll do a little shopping there and then, so a couple of exciting things. This was a very busy weekend in Pelham. So we had Pelham Civics had the Olympics in the morning. Then Pelham Together had Summerfest in the afternoon, and that was a huge event. They had about 15 teen bands play, and then they had Thrive do a sample class. They had games and crafts, barbecue by Depot Dave, a dog parade, an obstacle course, a mini golf thing, and a tie-dye station. So
The
apparently,
highlight, Kara, was the dog parade where the supervisor was the judge.
oh,
You were
wow.
the judge?
That was crucial.
Did your grand dog win?
Didn't win.
No, all
I
right.
recused
Could
myself.
have won.
You
She
recused
could have
yourself.
won. She could
Okay.
have won. And
Because
next
I'm
year,
sure
one
she-
of you are gonna do it, because I want that dog, she had a wonderful my son was dressed as an astronaut, and the dog was dressed as
That
a
is
rocket
cute.
ship.
Oh,
was
I
very-
love
it
that.
was very
That's
well done.
fantastic.
And I
It was
had to
very
be,
well done.
and I had to recuse myself.
And I was giving out cotton candy.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you. A lot of participation. I would have been there,
It was
but
fun.
I was at a wedding.
With a fire in the hotel.
Yes, but that's a whole other story, and I'm not gonna tell you how many ambulances and,
Within
Tell
3
us.
minutes.
and fire departments showed up. Anyway, it was a huge success, as I'm quoting directly from Eileen Miller and Laura Caruso. And very exciting, Laura Caruso, our very own Laura Caruso, was honored as a Woman of Distinction by the state of New York. In the New York State Senate, they were honoring women of New York, and Laura Caruso was honored for all her work with Pelham Together, which is
That's
quite an
great.
yeah, very
Was that in
well
the
deserved.
Examiner?
I think it was.
I think it
I
was
did.
very,
Or the
very. I'll forward
Post,
you the
maybe, or
yeah.
one of those.
Absolutely
I think
fantastic.
it was in
Here's the
Post, too.
It was, yeah, I think it was.
absolutely fantastic, and congratulations to Laura Caruso from the entire council. Oh, I think, oh, and then in the afternoon, the Pelham Preservation and Garden Society ended the day. So if everybody went to all three things, I hope they slept well.
I went to 2 out of 3.
All
To me
right,
too,
good for
2 out
you.
of 3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway, thank you.
Councilwoman Burke.
And a much more somber news, my reports. So the court clerk position, unfortunately, the last hire fell through due to personal circumstances. So a new search has commenced. So it's been posted on the website. I spoke with Justice Kagan today. We're trying to sort of rack our brains. Is there anything more we can do to get the posting out there? LinkedIn, Indeed. I don't know
Yeah.
if we do all those things.
We could do that, and
Do we ever do that?
we don't, but we
don't?
Could, I mean, I think in some of them you have to pay for a service, so,
They have free trials though, because I think, remember we were looking for something and I looked into it, and I
Yeah, I
forget which
do.
month I
I know.
told you all I looked into it, but I can go back and take a
yeah,
look.
please, because
I'll send it
we're
to you.
really, I mean, we could put it on Facebook. I hate doing that because I don't want comments to come, like, we just want to find a good person
Yeah,
for the job, and it's a challenge,
yeah.
so.
And it does not have to be somebody who has. the
No,
civil-
it doesn't actually. I
Okay.
mean, we
No, s-
skills that can translate, but they don't have to have prior background in,
Or the civil servant exam.
correct.
Okay. And it's part-time?
This
No,
is
this
full
is the
time.
full-time.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is the full-time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you get summer Fridays.
So it's gonna, could potentially be a challenge over the summer, if they have some, the current clerks have some vacation time that they would like to take. We have to figure out if a court date might have to be, postponed because of lack of coverage, because of this situation.
Closed for 2 weeks anyway.
They are closed, but I don't know
Maybe they. Oh.
if they're gonna plan their vacation those 2 weeks, that would be fantastic, but, So I know the justices are speaking to them, and it's a challenging situation, so,
There must be a place though where you can post like government type job,
I hope so.
Colleges.
Yeah, yeah.
Like John Jay Criminal Justice.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Do we have like a salary set for that? Like, do we know, or is it negotiable?
It's a set, I mean,
can
now you
set it.
have to now you have to post the set salary, or the salary range, I should say, in New York State. I don't,
I believe it's 46.
46, I thought.
I don't know, if people have ideas, please send them along to me, I'll take some of these down.
John Jay, because you're gonna have people who are pursuing.
That's great, I love that idea.
Good idea.
Okay, next, the Office of Court Administration has finally ended any remaining COVID protocols in place, so signage needs to be removed. I don't know if Adam is gonna be talking to, I guess, do we talk to Felix about that, or?
Felix.
Okay, so, I don't know, Molly or whatever, I'll talk to Adam as well, just to make sure that they finally can get taken down. I had sort of, when I was thinking about it recently, and I think I sent you a note, Kara, in terms of like the rec department. I think they still have like the COVID, all the COVID language and the waivers.
I'll
Maybe
make sure
those
that gets
time to see those things disappear. On the website.
Yes,
I think
and in
it's
the
kind
li-
of all
it-
over
probably
still.
in the-
It's in the signed
Yeah.
waiver, because I did one recently. I'm like, oh, we could, probably start getting rid of all that
Updating
type
that.
of thing, yeah.
That's a good point.
I don't know with the library, if they have anything, sort of same idea. No, okay, good. So I hardly ever give assessor reports, but grievance day, or were you gonna talk about that?
No, you can do that.
Okay, so grievance day is June 20th, and it's 2 times, it's 2 blocks of time, 9 to 11, this was 9 to 11 in the morning, and 6 to 8 at night, thank you. I had, the constables will be there, so I had a sort of a time that they had to be there, so it's a little different than what I wrote down for myself, but yeah, so then 6 to 8 PM, and that's at Town Hall, that's here. And I think, oh, and so just quickly,
And
Yeah.
the office is closed that day because it worked out very well last year.
okay, so that,
They'll be working from home.
Town offices.
the town offices are closed that day, that's a very good point. Because there will be people in and out of
Coming in
this
and out,
space,
right.
okay. Okay,
But they'll be working at home.
but they were
Right.
working remote,
Just the
right?
building will be closed.
Got it.
And are we closed June 19th?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yes, okay. Make
Okay,
that
great.
announcement,
Oh,
too.
yeah. Okay, great. And then just very quickly, so I have these reports, so we don't, these are for April, but we don't have May yet then.
You have the tax receivers report for April and May.
Okay.
You have the,
Justices.
justice reports just from April.
Okay. So I'll do the justice reports for Justice Kagan for the month of April. He received an amount of $16,793. And for Justice Gardner, for the month of April, received an amount of $48,968. And the receiver of taxes report for the month of April 2023, county taxes for 2023 received were $12,516,715.47. School taxes received $68,781.08. The school collection received an amount of $577.77. Duplicate payments to the town were $14,036.19. That's right. And refunds for the town were $6,396.08. Penalties and interest received $7,755.03. Miscellaneous was $66. Pro rata is $2,181.44 for a total received $12,603,716.90. And for the month of May 2023, town county taxes for 2023 received were $2,736,855.69. Town county taxes received for 2022 were $8,448.50. School taxes received $73,609.01. School collection fee $618.31. Duplicate payments for the school were $85.02. Refund duplicate payments for the town, if I can read this, $7,640.11. I don't know what this is, I'm gonna ignore that. Penalties and interest received were $20,829.59. Liens were $26,450.50. Taxpayers' agreement was $4,737. Miscellaneous, $1,888.27. Pro rata is $2,463.52 for a total of $2,868,345.30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Councilman Burke?
I think you wanted to.
Yes, I forgot to say one thing,
Sure.
sorry.
Go for it.
The Pride Party will be at Gazebo Park on June 16th from 5:30 to 8:30.
And the flag.
Oh, right, and the banner.
Yep, the banner is up. I think we declared 2 years ago now that it's Pride Month in Pelham, so we have the banner, which is the gay pride, and I think it has the inclusivity symbol as well. So thanks to Molly and whoever else helped get it up. Felix. I could see Molly standing up on the, you know. Thank you.
Okay. Councilwoman Curtin on the library.
And Augusta, do you want to talk about the library? You want me to?
No.
The library is also celebrating Pride Month, and there's lots of activities. If you go to their, I feel like I always say this, but if you go to their website, there's programming and a list of resources and books, and there's movies, and they put together a lot of around that. They're doing some activities for Pride there, so definitely check that out. And also the library is also closed on Juneteenth in celebration of that holiday, and there are also a list of books and other resources about Juneteenth. So
But we're
it's,
gonna be at the Juneteenth celebration, which is the day after Pride.
that's right.
And we'll be there for Pride too, so we're just gonna keep our table there.
That's right.
All right.
So the Pelham Village Arts Council, that they're doing a Juneteenth event on Saturday, June 17th this year. Summer reading is kicking off. That's on June 23rd at 1 p.m. It's the popular summer reading program where kids are encouraged to read and avoid the summer slide, the dreaded summer slide. And Augusta's put together a great program with prizes from local places like pizza and ice cream, depending on how much the children read, or even are read to. So anyone can participate. And then I just wanted to say about our extremely popular story time. It happens 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. and it's done outside, and that's since COVID. And on a beautiful weather day, Augusta tells me that we've had 120 people at
That's
story
amazing.
time. And there really is, I mean, to bring it, like, and we all recognize that COVID is long over, but to bring that back inside would limit the number of participants, and I don't think we want
Not if the weather's good, right?
Well, what do you do on bad weather days, though? Then how do you limit people?
We have to cancel it.
Okay.
You have to cancel it.
We're only allowed to have 25 people in our program room.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so how would you decide?
Maybe you
who-
could do some kind of sign up.
We did that, and it was dangerous for the staff.
Got it,
A lot
got
of
it,
the-
got it.
a
Yeah,
lot of
then
the-
you're enforcing that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
A lot of the folks you see at the story time are pushing strollers. They probably walked over. If it's raining,
They're not gonna,
maybe,
right.
yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I just wanted to acknowledge that that's a really good,
I just want to say,
program.
last year for story time, we had a total of 8,000 people.
Yeah,
Wow.
Whoa.
A lot of people.
it's amazing.
That's incredible.
And that's, oh, and I did say earlier about novel night, but we are looking for hosts on September 30th. I ran into somebody Saturday night who said, I've already hosted, and I said, it's like giving blood. You have to do it over and over.
I've done it twice, and my
Yes.
husband said he will divorce me if I do it a
Okay,
third
well,
time.
that's
Even
fair.
though I have a great book in mind, but
I do not want
he
to
will
get
divorce me.
divorced, but we do, and some people haven't done it in a few years, maybe they come back to do it. We really do rely on that as a big fundraiser for the Friends of the Library, and it's good. And also, I just want to dispel one other thing, and I don't know if anyone's still watching this meeting, but hopefully they are. It's not just about the size of the party, it's the number of tickets we can sell. So even if you only have a dinner party for 12 people, it doesn't have to be a huge elaborate event. So if you're hesitant, but you can do something for 12 people, 15 people, it's very much appreciated by the Friends of the Library Board. So thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
what I have on the library, yes.
Thank you. Supervisor's report. So we had the Memorial Day Parade, and we had a great showing of our council people. I ended up getting I don't know if I was getting heat stroke, but even.
You were getting heat
It
stroke.
was very, very hot.
Yeah, and
They had a lot of water for people, though. I don't know.
Yeah,
who
but he
provided that.
went in the convertible with a suit on and nothing covering him. It was too much.
it was. But I thought they did a great job. I'm sorry you guys didn't come up to the.
Yeah, you should have come up.
You would have at least gotten out of the sun.
We were good. We were hanging.
Yeah.
No, we would have put chairs for you there. I just wanted you to know
Okay.
that. That's
No,
why
thank
I
you.
told you.
Thank you.
That's why I went
Yeah.
like that to you
No,
guys.
you know what? I did scoot some kids out to let Maggie Klein get a chair.
And I did get a compliment by text that that my speech was short, and please do that again, which I always try to do. My comment on Amy, the Hub poem was always read by Joe.
Just have to stand up for a minute.
Always read by Joe. But what's interesting, when after the ceremony, Joe said, I was going to do that speech this year. So that was, so he was trying to shorten it up as well, which I thought was kind of.
That's really interesting.
It is interesting. And then I went to the Summer Olympics, and there was over 300 kids there, 300.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I didn't know any of them, or the parents. And it was well attended. And as Kara said, I went to the Summerfest, and it was a lot different this year with the roped-off area where you had to go in and get a band.
Well, that was smart.
Yeah.
Well, now it's a fundraiser again.
Right,
Where
right.
last time it was sort of a pay-as-you-go
activity.
and an activity kind of thing. Now they were trying to truly make it a fundraiser again.
And that, I think Chester Park is the better place to have it.
It's a fantastic place for it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's what I think, anyway. I did want to just publicly announce that we got the fly card check, even though I sent you guys the picture of it already, for $109,000. So that was, now we're waiting for the check for the constable car.
Constable van, yeah.
So hopefully that'll come up soon. I think that's all I had. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I just wanted to add, most of us marched with the Board of Ed, the Village of Pelham Manor,
Amy
the town,
Paulin.
Amy Paulin, Natalia Fernandez, and
It's really fun.
I'm missing one other elected who was there.
Oh, Terry
Clements.
Clements.
And
Yes,
Terry
Terry
Clements. And
Clements.
we
It
all
was-
walked
it was
together, had some
fantastic.
great conversations. It was
was
a lot of
excellent.
togetherness and truly.
Walking is over for me.
That's okay. You
I'll-
and Ray were in the
I'll
cars
meet you-
right behind us.
I'll meet you there.
They were keeping an eye on us, keeping us moving. But it showed that we put everything aside and worked together as villages, towns, county, state for something we all find very meaningful and to pay tribute to the folks who gave their lives for us to be there.
Agreed.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
No.
I don't have a motion to adjourn.
One more thing. The shredder is gonna be in the back parking lot on
Oh.
June 17th from 10 a.m. to 1.
The mobile
And there'll be
shredder.
more information on the website as to what you can and can't bring.
Okay.
What date was that? Sorry.
June 17th.
Saturday, June
That
17th,
is a
10 a.m.
busy weekend.
That's an exciting day.
There's a lot going on.
But isn't that the day you said somebody's gonna do,
What is
There's
that?
Juneteenth in Wolf's Lane
What?
Park
What's for
that day.
oh, Wolf's Lane?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for you.
Okay, now do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you,
I just
Are we
shredded
going
one.
into